The worst of Netflix original movies. The rules are simple. I find a Netflix original movie. I look up its rating on IMDB and Rotten Tomatoes. If it has less than a 5 out of 10 on IMDB and less than a 50% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, then it qualifies for reviewing, and we discover if the low ratings were deserved or not. With the rules explained, it's time to start the show. For today's episode, we have Rattlesnake, a crime drama mystery that came out on October 25th, 2019. So this was written and directed by Zach Hilditch. It stars Carmen Eogo, Thea Rossi, and Emma Greenwell. The summary for this movie is, after a mysterious woman saves her daughter from a deadly snake bite, a single mother must repay the debt by killing a stranger before sundown. As for the ratings, on IMDb it has a 4.6 out of 10, and on Rotten Tomatoes it has a audience score of 16%. So not good at all. So I guess we'll give this movie a watch and we'll see if it deserves its low ratings or if it got dealt a bad hand and actually deserves more love than it got. Let's find out. So I just finished watching Rattlesnake. And let's dive into it. I'm going to give a brief summary of what goes on in the movie. Of course, there will be spoilers. And just for copyright reasons and stuff like that, I'm not going to show any clips. I'll show a few screen grabs here and there. But other than that, I want to be, safe than sorry. Because you never know when it comes to the whole copyright thing. So, the movie. The movie is about Katrina. She is played by Carmen Eogo. I hope I pronounced that right. She is our main character. She is the driving force of the movie. Everything about this movie revolves around her. She's basically like in every single scene. Like it, for anyone who's played video games, it's like that where you'll have like the entire story. You only see it through one character's point of view. Like I'm not necessarily talking about like a first-person shooter or anything like that, but I just mean like you never see anything outside of what that character sees. You never know anything outside of what that character knows. That's basically what this movie is. This entire movie follows Katrina. And Katrina is on a trip with her daughter, Clara. They are traveling through Texas, and along the way, they're kind of like, playing games and stuff like that. So we have this, they have a good relationship. And we get the feeling that she's a single mother, and this later pointed out that she is. And I guess she's on her way to see her parents or something. She's on her way to go see some kind of relatives or friends or something. And along the way, they come across basically it's heavy traffic. And the heavy traffic is going to put them behind by an hour. But the GPS says that there's a shorter travel if they get off at the next exit. So they do. And it puts them in Tulsa, Texas. Or at least on this desert road leading towards Tulsa, Texas. And along the way, not only does Katrina's phone, the internet connection die off, there's no connection whatsoever, but she gets a flat tire. So she pulls over and she's out changing her tire. And while she's doing that, her daughter is kind of skipping around like 15, 20 feet away from her in the desert when all of a sudden a rattlesnake bites her. And Clara is only 5 years old, so the venom takes effect on her really, really quickly. And of course, Katrina is freaking out because her daughter is pretty much dying in front of her, and there's nothing she can do, and there's no connection on her phone, so she can't call anyone. Her tire is flat, so she can't drive anywhere. And even if she could, she has no idea if there's anyone around. When all of a sudden she sees this trailer like 100 feet away or so. So she rushes to the trailer. She barges in. She's looking around, and this kind of weird looking mysterious woman shows up, and Katrina just basically tells her like, hey, like, my daughter was bitten by a snake. She's turning blue. I need help. And the woman is like, I can help him. Like, thankfully, like, I know what to do. So she takes the daughter, puts her in the back room, and then she tells Katrina, there's a city 20 minutes away. You might want to hurry up and fix your tire. And right before Katrina leaves, the woman says, we'll talk about payment later. And so Katrina rushes to her car. She quickly changes the tire, drives right back to the trailer, and the woman is gone. But her daughter appears to be fine. Her daughter is unconscious, but okay. She even pulls up the pant leg of her daughter and realizes that the snake bite is gone. So then she quickly pulls up the other leg. Maybe she got the wrong leg. No, the snake bite is completely gone. It's almost like she's never been bitten. And she's kind of confused, but still, she's grateful for the fact that it seems like her daughter is going to be okay. So she puts the daughter in her car, drives to the city of Tolia, and takes her to the hospital where the doctors are like, are you sure she was bitten by a snake? Because she's not showing any of the symptoms of a snake bite. There are no snake bites that we can see. If anything, it looks like maybe she just had a heat stroke or something. Like, she should be fine. And of course, Katrina's like, I can she stay? Like, I don't know what's going on, but she was turning blue and everything. So the doctor's like, all right, we'll keep her overnight and stuff and see, if anything changes, but she should be okay. So then the doctors then ask, like, have you been like stressed out or anything? Like, maybe, they check her blood pressure and everything. And we cut to a little bit later where Katrina is with her daughter. I mean, all of a sudden this man in a suit shows up, and he basically tells her, I'm here to talk about payment. And Katrina's kind of weirded out, and she's like, oh, well, I think I have insurance, it should cover it. And he's like, no, I'm talking about the other payment. And he basically tells her that your daughter's soul was spared, but only under the condition that you must pay the price with another soul. And it's got to be a human. So a soul for a soul. And you have until sunset to repay the debt, or your daughter will die. And of course, Katrina's like, who are you? Get the hell out of here. I'm going to call security. And he's like, let me show you what will happen if you do not repay the debt. And all of a sudden, the daughter, Clara, starts becoming like pale, blue. The snake bite is grotesque, and she's basically like dying. She's like spazzing out. And of course, Katrina starts freaking out. And then she hits like the button to call in the nurses and stuff, and they rush in. And when they do, the guy is gone, and the daughter is completely fine. She's just still unconscious, but the snake bite is gone. She seems to be normal, just sleeping. That's when Katrina realizes, okay, that wasn't a hallucination. Like, I need to figure out what the hell's going on though. So she decides to get back on the road and drive to where the trailer was. But when she gets there, the trailer is gone. All that's there is the rattlesnake. And all of a sudden a truck shows up, and a trucker comes out, and we get this kind of creepy scene where Katrina's like, it's okay, like, I'm fine, you don't have to worry. And all of a sudden he pulls out like a tire iron, and he starts like stalking towards her, and she starts freaking out like, oh my god, this guy's gonna attack me. And then that's when the creepiness ends, because instead we get a comical moment where we see that the truck driver has a missing eye. He has gunshot wounds, and he's like, a soul for a soul. You gotta kill someone by sunset. And he starts doing like the evil laugh, like the very cliche evil laugh. And I'm just like, oh my god, no. No, you did not just do that. The scene was creepy already. You had the trucker who he was off in the distance, and because of like the sun, you had the what's that effect? Like, when you had the steam coming off the roads. So things in the distance, you can't really make out. They're kind of blurred. So you don't really get to make out this guy's features, but you see like him pulling out a tire iron, and he's stalking towards Katrina. And it's like, okay, that's super creepy, because she's out in the middle of nowhere, and it looks like this guy's coming to kill her. And then all of a sudden he shows up, and his eye, he just looks so comical. His eye missing, bullet shot wounds, and then he does like an evil laugh, and talking like he's the devil or something. I'm just like, you took a creepy scene and then you made it hilarious, and not in a good way, because this whole movie's not supposed to be funny whatsoever. So that was terrible. What I would have done, just have the guy come out of the car, have him walking towards her. You don't really see his features because of the heat and stuff like that, and you just have Katrina like no, I don't need help. Like, it's fine, you can go back. But he just keeps walking, like he doesn't hear her, and he just keeps coming towards her, and then have Katrina be like a little weirded out, like, what the hell's going on? And as he gets closer, maybe that she sees like blood stains on his shirt, basically like he has the bullet wounds, but don't make the bullet wounds just so obvious. Just have like his shirt's like covered in blood or whatever. And then, of course, Katrina's like freaking out because this trucker covered in blood is approaching her in the middle of nowhere, and maybe she's stumbling back. She trips, hits the ground. She sees like the snake hissing towards her. She grabs a rock and throws it at the snake to get it away. And then when she turns back, the trucker is gone. That's how I would have done it instead. So you still get the whole trucker thing, because the trucker is going to play a part in a little bit. But you have that without it being just so obvious in your face. Because right now it just seems like comically supernatural, whereas before the supernatural was kind of more subtle. Just like, okay, you have this guy show up saying a soul for a soul. How the hell does he know? And then you have the daughter being okay, but then not being okay, but then being okay again. You have the trailer missing. So you have some kind of supernatural stuff going on, but it's very low key. It's not like super in your face, like, oh, here's a zombie trucker laughing at you. Like, that's just too much. So I would have made it a little bit more subtle. I would have just had him like, as he gets closer, we're able to start making out his features, and we just see him like covered in blood, and we realize something is like, he doesn't say anything. I would have him just completely quiet and just have him kind of like stare at Katrina, and then she's shocked. She stumbles back, and then maybe the snake gets too close to her, and she's like scared that the snake might bite her, so she throws a rock at the snake. So her attention is quickly diverted to the snake, and then when she turns back to the trucker, he's just gone, and she's in the middle of the empty field, and the truck is gone, and all that's around her is just her car. That's how I would have done that. Anyways, she drives back into the city, and she pulls into a parking lot, and she has connection on her phone now. So she looks up murders in Tulia, Texas, and then she discovers that the trucker, she types in, one of the Google searches is trucker fatally shot. So she looks it up and pulls up the article, and she sees that the trucker was the same one that she met in the desert, and that's why he has the bullet holes and stuff like that. So he was murdered. And as she's looking at the photo of the crime scene, she sees a figure of a woman in the distance, and the figure kind of matches the shape of the woman that helped her save her daughter. And then she looks through another murder case, and she sees the guy in the suits that was in the hospital with her, the one that told her about having to repay the debt and what the debt requires. And it turns out that he was a lawyer, and he was fatally stabbed. And all they know is that the man who stabbed her was constantly yelling, "A soul for a soul, a soul for a soul." And then as she's looking at this like video clip of the murderer being taken into custody, she sees the same female figure in the distance. You can't really make her out, but you can kind of see her shape. And then again, it matches the same shape of the trucker scene and the same shape of the woman who helped her daughter. So that's when she's like, okay, this isn't just in my head. Something is really going on here. I have to kill someone by sunset. So she types in like when sunset is, and it's like, okay, 5:37, I think it was 5:30 something. So by 5:30 something that day, she needs to kill someone. We have a moment where she's like checking in on her daughter, and there is there's an old man who's basically on his deathbed. He's gonna die at any moment. She thinks, okay, this is the perfect target to get rid of, because he's old, he's already on death's bed. All I gotta do is just put a pillow over his face or something. So she waits until she's in the room by herself, and then she's about to kill this guy when she can't. Like, she can't take a life. She starts freaking out. She's too stressed. She rushes into the bathroom to kind of calm herself, and then when she comes back out, she sees that the man's family is around his bed, and he's already dead. So she's like, damn it, she blew that opportunity. So now she doesn't know what to do. So she is chilling out in her car, trying to figure out what she's going to do, when this kid on a bike comes by, and he looks at her, and he stops, and he pulls over to the passenger side, and then he kind of knocks on the window, and then he points at his wrist, like, time's running out. And then he starts banging his head on the window until he smashes it open, and she freaks out and, flies out of the car. And then when she looks back into the car, she realizes the kid is gone, the window is fine. And then she notices their town board where they have all, like, messages and stuff posted up there, and one of them is missing kid, and it's the same kid that was just banging his head against her window. and he went missing in 2010. She's realizing that all these people are, people that have died, and probably died because, of this lady, this step that they had to pay or something. So then she's like, all right, I gotta kill somebody. Who am I gonna kill though? So she's at a bar when this battered woman shows up, and it turns out that her boyfriend is abusive. And so her boyfriend comes in and drags her back out and takes her home. And as he's driving his girlfriend home, Katrina follows in her truck, and she sees which driveway he pulls into, and she continues on her way. And then she just marks down his address. Then she goes into a gun store where she's trying to buy a gun. And I'm just, at this point, I'm like, okay, I don't know how the gun laws are in Texas. I know I'm in California, and I know gun here, like the laws here are super freaking strict. Like to get a gun here, you have to do weeks and weeks and weeks of training. You have to do a background search. You have to do all this stuff. You can't just walk in and buy a gun. So I was like, don't tell me that they're going to do that. Like, come on. But no, they actually do something interesting. So Katrina shows up. She wants to get the gun. And then he's like, all right, I just need to see your Texas papers. Like your ID to show that you're a Texas citizen. And she says that she's not. He's like, oh, well, I can't sell you the gun if you're not a citizen. And she basically says, like she starts pleading, like, can you just overlook this? Like, I was on the road with my daughter and we were attacked, and I just want something to keep us safe. And he's like, I'm sorry, but the law is the law. He's like, where is your daughter anyways? And he's like, and Katrina tells him, like, she's in the hospital. So she kind of insinuates that she's in the hospital because they were attacked. And then of course the clerk feels bad. He's like, oh my God, like, what kind of world do we live in where we can't even drive on an American road without someone trying to, hurt us? So he's like, I can't give you a gun, but if you go to this place, I will vouch for you and you can buy a gun there. So say that he's kind of a private dealer. So basically she's going to buy a gun off the black market. So we have a scene where she goes and she's buying the gun. And this whole scene is pretty tense, which is good. He sells her the gun and stuff like that. And then before she leaves, he's like, so who is it? And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, I know, I can tell by your eyes that you're going to do someone in. Who is it? Whoever it is, you better make sure that he actually deserves it. And then Katrina runs out. And I don't want to say she practices, but she has like a water bottle and she takes like 3 shots at it, and she misses the first 2, and every time she misses she gets closer and closer until eventually she's like right almost in front of the bottle, and then she's able to hit it, and she's like, all right, I got to do this now. So she psychs herself up, puts on her cap, goes into the abusive boyfriend's house. His name is Billy, by the way. So she goes into Billy's house and she tries to kill him, but she can't. Like he kind of she keeps missing opportunities until eventually she gets him in the TV room, tells him to go into the truck, and then she's going to drive him out into the desert. At this point, I'm just kind of like, why don't you just plug him right then and there? I guess maybe it's because the girlfriend is a witness, but even if you just take the boyfriend and kidnap him, the girlfriend is still a witness. So she still knows that, that you're taking him away. So I don't know. This moment just didn't really work with me. Like at that point, it's like she's this desperate that time's running out and all that she's done. Like you would think I'd just plug him right then and there, but no. Instead, she forces him into his truck, and then she gets in the back seat and she forces him to drive off into the desert. And before she can kill him, once they get to the desert, he fights back, and then he basically tries to wrestle the gun out, but she's able to get it, and he takes off, and he runs into like this remote canyon, and she chases after him, but she loses him. And as she's looking for him, she sees a hiker, and the hiker is a missing hiker that she saw on the board earlier. So she knows that this hiker is pretty much dead, because even the hiker's like, time is running out. You know what you got to do. And Katrina, at this point, she's like, all right, it's going to be sunset. I can't find this guy. I can't get back in town, quick enough to kill someone else. So she decides, all right, I'm going to kill myself. I will pay for my daughter's soul with my own soul. But before she does that, she decides she's gonna leave a message for her daughter and stuff. She's gonna leave a message explaining like why, like a goodbye message. So she starts filming this. But as she's filming this, Billy comes back and hits her from behind and knocks her out. And then she wakes up and Billy's there pointing a gun at her and he's like, threatening to kill her and stuff. And she has her knife and she's like starting to cut her own throat in front of him. When he's like, what the hell are you doing? And all of a sudden, a rattlesnake appears out of nowhere and bites him. And the bite causes him to fall off into like a small ditch. And he's like really wounded. He's dying. And Katrina slowly climbs down, grabs the knife that she was going to use to kill herself, and she slits his throat. So she kills Billy just as the sun sets. And so she starts walking out of the canyon. And as she's walking out, she sees all the dead people that she's seen throughout the entire movie. The trucker, the lawyer in the suit, the kid on the bike, the hiker, and then she sees the woman who helped her daughter in the distance. And she blows up Billy's truck and she walks back into town. And then we just see her in her truck. She eventually is able to get to her truck. She's driving when she gets a call from the hospital. In the car, the doctor basically says, "Hey, like, I've been trying to reach you for hours. Like, your daughter's fine. She woke up. She's looking for you. And Katrina's like, all right, tell her I'll be there soon." And so Katrina goes, picks up her daughter, and then we see like the next day they're leaving. They're on the desert road driving away, and they're playing, their games again. And the game that they were playing was basically, it's kind of like I Spy, only it's, I don't know exactly what it is, but basically you start with the letter. So you start from the beginning of the alphabet, A, and then you look around and you have to find something that starts with an A. So you'll be like, A for apple. And then the next person has to go, okay, B. B, I see a B or whatever. They're starting to play this game, and the daughter's like, H for hitchhiker. And then Katrina looks up and she sees a hitchhiker. And as they drive closer, they see that the hitchhiker is Billy. And Billy just stares at her as Katrina drives away. And then Katrina's like, Did you see him? And Claire's like, the hitchhiker? Yeah, I saw him. Mommy, it's your turn. And then Katrina's just like, and then it ends. See, there we go. There's Rattlesnake. So does Rattlesnake deserve the 4.6 out of 10 rating on IMDb and the 16% audience score? I would actually say no. Maybe you guys might disagree with me. I thought this movie actually deserves a bit of a higher score. I don't think it was that bad. I'm not saying it's like a great movie or anything, but 4.6, I would say this is maybe like a 5.5 or something. And a 16% audience score, I would actually give this maybe like a 50% or 45%. I think it deserves better score than it got. I don't know. I personally I like the movie. So yeah, I mean, I will say that I'm one of those people where like I love like B movies. I love cheaply done movies and stuff like that. Not that this movie is that, but I'm someone who can appreciate movies that people might not think is really great. Like my favorite movie of all time is Tremors. I think it's the greatest movie ever made. And while a lot of people might be like, you know what, that movie was pretty damn good, no one's gonna have it as the greatest movie ever made. But I would. Like I love it that much. I think it's perfect in every single way. Again, that's me. So I would say this movie deserves a higher rating. I actually liked it. I will say the things I didn't like was I didn't like when it delved into the supernatural bits because it was too comical. We had the trucker scene, right? So we had the trucker scene, which I already went over, and I told you like what I would have done instead. I would have made it a little bit more subtle. I would have had him just be covered in blood, and he wouldn't say anything. He would just kind of stare at her with like dead eyes, and she looks away, and then when she looks back, he's gone. We get the message clear without him having to spell it out for you. Like we don't need him saying soul for soul, ha 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 ha, and doing like the really cliche Saturday morning cartoon villain evil laugh. there, and then the kid with the bike bashing his head against the window and stuff like that. I don't know if I would have done that. I would have just had like the kid just kind of like staring at her, maybe knock on the window, and then just kind of point to his watch. Maybe she looks at him. Maybe she looks down to see like what time it is, to see how much time she has, and then when she looks back up, the kid's gone and nowhere to be seen. And then that's when she looks ahead and she realizes that actually sees his photo on the missing person's board. There's another scene where she's driving before she goes to get a gun, and she's parked and she looks out and she sees a priest, like in like this rundown, like I don't even want to say it's a church. It's kind of like it's almost like a stone church that's been brought down. But anyways, he like looks at her and then he like does like a finger gun point at her, and his arm catches fire, and then his whole entire body catches fire. And I'm just like, I don't know about that. It was too much. I don't know. Maybe I would have had him like he looks at her and then he does like the finger gun point, and then and then he's gone. So that's when she gets the idea like, okay, maybe I should get a gun or something, or just not even have him there, because we already know she's already like set on trying to kill someone. We don't need someone egging her on to keep going. The supernatural moments were just too much. I would have made them a lot more subtle and not so in your face. I think Carmen Iogo, I don't know how to say that last name, but I think the actress who played Katrina did an amazing job. I think she was perfect in this role of someone like struggling. Like, she's a good person, and we even have a scene earlier where she's like, talking to her daughter about like, we don't hurt people, stuff like that. Basically setting up that she's an innocent person. She's good hearted. She's not one to go around and hurt people, much less kill someone. And now she's struggling to have to kill someone to save the life of her daughter. And I think the actress does a great job of portraying that. She was phenomenal in this role. I think the premise itself is really cool. I like that idea. Like, this innocent woman has to murder someone to save her daughter from dying. That's like a world that would cause a lot of stress to anybody. But and I also like the way that they pulled it off, because I wasn't expecting any kind of supernatural elements coming in, especially since like when I read I read it was a crime drama mystery. There's nothing supernatural about it. So I was like, all right, so how are they going to get a stranger forcing this woman to kill someone to save her daughter, when the premise says that the woman already saves her daughter? Like, a stranger saves her daughter and then says, in return, I need you to kill someone after I've already saved your daughter. At that point, it's like, nah, like, you already saved my daughter. Why the hell am I going to go kill someone for you? I'm just going to go and take my daughter home with me. But the fact that there is that element of supernaturalness, that made it cool. I would have just kept it really low key, like just not in your face with these moments, because I thought those moments just really took me out of the story. Like, I'm just laughing at them because I'm like, oh, this is too over the top. It would have been a lot better if you just not played it up so much. But yeah, I thought the cinematography was good. I liked the location, like, stranded in this like deserted town. I like I like the premise. The acting was good. I mean, it basically, Katrina takes like the biggest screen time in this. Like, the whole entire movie revolves around her. So if your whole entire movie revolves around one character, and you have one character in every scene throughout the entire movie, that character better be freaking amazing. Like, it better be a character that the audience can get behind, and the actor or actress better do a really good job. Because if you have a crappy actress or actor playing as this character, it's going to bring down the whole movie. And I think that the opposite happened here. I think that the actress who played Katrina did phenomenal. I thought the character of Katrina was someone that you can easily sympathize and root for, and you can clearly see her struggles as she's going through this. I liked how it wasn't just... It was slow. This was like a slow burn, but it works for this, because this isn't an action movie. This isn't like some kind of huge mystery of her trying to figure out who this person is. It's set up really clearly. some kind of supernatural force saved your daughter, and now to keep your daughter alive, you got to kill someone. It can be anybody, but you have to do it by sunset. So you have the ticking clock. There you go. Good. I like the fact that it wasn't like we had Katrina right away, like, okay, I gotta go kill someone. Like, we had her struggling with this. We had her struggling with the fact that she's realizing, like, one, that this is real, that it wasn't just like, maybe she had a heat stroke herself, or maybe she's just, too stressed out and just, I like the fact that it took her a while before she started believing this. And then when she believed it, I like that she struggled to do it. Because, I mean, yes, it's to save her daughter's life, but at the same time, you're still going to be killing someone. And it could be someone at first, like, she's like, she doesn't have time to go find someone evil to kill. So she's going to basically take an innocent life, and she's struggling to, to deal with this. And this is a situation that makes complete sense to struggle with. And I like that. I like the fact that we saw her struggling. We saw her like, okay, I have like a layup shot right here. I just got to smother this old man in his sleep. He's already on death's door. He's going to die at any moment. So it doesn't really matter if I just put him out peacefully in his sleep. Better now than, he could die in like the next hour or whatever. And at least him dying will save an innocent soul. But even then, she struggled to do it because she can't. She doesn't have it in her. But then when she like blows her opportunity, then, the pressure starts building up, like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do now? And then you got the people like constantly warning, telling her like, hey, you better hurry up, you don't have much time. And it's just, this whole thing is like eating away at her. And then she gets another opportunity. Okay, we have an abusive boyfriend. Here's a piece of garbage that no one's going to be upset if I get rid of. But now she has to work up the courage to plug this guy. She has to get a gun. She has to make sure she knows how to use it. Then she has to go in herself and actually kill someone. And I like this whole struggle. Like, even at the end, she's not like some super badass. She gets lucky at the end because she's not a killer. She's not an action hero. She's not like a fighter, like in like a physical sense. She's just an ordinary woman. And like, even in the end, like, she's like, all right, I blew my chance. I'm gonna kill myself. And then, Billy knocks her out, shows up, and even then, Billy is like about to kill her when the snake of all things comes and bails her out. And even when she kills Billy, it's because Billy is completely incapacitated. Like, he can't move. He's injured to the point where, and he's already dying. So it's like, I like that throughout the entire movie, she doesn't go from a ordinary human into, a badass action hero. She stays the same physically and stuff like that. It's just more of like a mental thing of her pushing through these struggles of having to take a life. I will say that in this case, in my opinion, the reviews got it wrong. I would have given this a higher score. I enjoyed this movie. It has its faults, but I don't think the faults were enough to bring it down. I thought it was a good premise, a good character. It kind of sludged through at times, but not enough to give it that poor of a rating. So I don't know why people hated it so much. I would have given this a higher score. Again, this isn't like, I wouldn't give it like a super high score or anything, but I think 16% audience score is a little too low. I would have given this like 45, 50%. This is like, if I were to grade this, like, if this was like in school, I'm a teacher and this is, a project, I would have given this a C. This is an average movie. It's definitely not an F, which is what that 16% score is. It's definitely not a 4.5 or 4.6. What was it on IMDb? 4.6 out of 10. I would have given it like a 5.5 out of 10. Because the thing is with IMDb, the rating is a bit skewed. So a 5 out of 10 is not necessarily good. Like a 5.5 out of 10 is usually like an average movie when it comes to the IMDb rating. So that's what I would give this. This is an average movie. This is like a C movie. I'll give it 5 out of 10, 45, 50%. I think it deserves not more love, but it deserves more likes than what it got. It's not terrible. Like, I actually enjoyed myself watching this movie. I didn't feel like I wasted an hour and how long is this? Hour and 20 something minutes, hour and 25 minutes. I didn't feel like I wasted an hour and 25 minutes of my life watching this movie. But yeah, there we go. There's Rattlesnake. Again, I thought it was a pretty good movie. Again, like I said, it's kind of sludges at times, but other than like, working on the pacing just a little bit, the only other thing that I would change is I would make it a little bit more subtle on the supernatural aspects. I wouldn't have it so in your face because it was so over the top it became comedic, and that's not what this movie is supposed to be. This movie is not supposed to be a comedy. It doesn't deserve the low rating that it got, in my opinion. Anyways, there you go. There's Rattlesnake 2019. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you guys have any recommendations for movies that I should watch for this series, please let me know. If there's anyone out there that has watched this movie, what do you think? Do you agree with me that it should have gotten a higher rating? Not too high of a rating, but it deserves higher than what it got, in my opinion. Or do you agree with the low scores that it got? I would really like to know. I would like to know if I'm the only one that actually thought this wasn't too bad. Or is it as bad as everyone else is saying it is? Please let me know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope to see you next time. Later.